when you've done all you can, and it seems like it's never enough. And what do you say when your friends turn away and you're all alone, all alone? Tell me, what do you give when you're giving your all and seems like you can't make it through? Well, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand, watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after you.
Marriage isn't always perfect, but healing is always possible. Welcome to Let the Healing Begin with your hosts, Apostles Lee and Kimberly Thomas. This podcast tackles real life issues with raw truth and a powerful his and her perspective. We talk marriage, we talk sex, we talk loss, love, and relational challenges couples don't always say out loud. If you're ready for honest dialogue, faith-filled insight, and a practical wisdom that restores connection and strengthens your marriage, you're in the right place. Come, journey with us as we let the healing begin.
Hey, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Let the Healing Begin. We are your hosts, Apostle
Lee
and Kimberly Thomas, and we are so grateful that you have joined us here tonight for Let the Healing Begin. We are here because we talk marriage, we talk sex, we talk loss, and we talk relational issues that many married couples do not want to tackle. We tackle all of those issues. We do not claim to have the monopoly on marriage, nor have we mastered this thing called marriage. But what we do have is a marriage of which we will be celebrating an anniversary next Tuesday, May the 12th. And we have a mandate from God to share our story, to share our journey, so that we might help somebody who is coming along in this walk, wanting to be married or even married. So, we are welcoming you tonight to Let the Healing Begin. We're going to jump right in tonight because we have a question for you. Can we talk?
Can we talk?
Can we talk?
Can we or will we?
Well, both.
Haha,
Both. Can we talk and will we talk?
that's it.
So, we were just kind of tossing around the idea for tonight just to kind of see what we were going to at least begin with, because sometimes the Lord just takes it and does what he wants to do with it. But we're going to start with the conversation of, can we talk? Last night or late yesterday afternoon, we did something that we have not done in a while. We jumped in the car headed to nowhere. Just got in the car headed to nowhere. Yeah, we were driving around, even though gas is $5.10 a gallon.
Yeah.
we just decided to jump in the car and take a ride. Because sometimes we're in these four walls and we can't talk because it seems like the four walls are closing in on us. We got bills, we got the dishes, we got dogs, cats. We got all these things that we have to be doing, and we can't really talk because when we start conversations, they lead to one of those things.
Mhm.
So we came tonight with a question: can we talk? Can we?
Yeah, we can if we give each other the chance to listen. Because sometimes we really don't talk. We do what you call talk at you, not to you.
Right.
And if you're talking at me, you're not really saying anything. I mean, when we first got started, I used to throw hints, hoping that you catch the hint. And through the years, I found out one day she said, "Oh, I don't take hints. So if it's something you want from me, you better ask."
Right.
So I'm like, I'm trying to figure you out, you
Mhm.
know. So direct is the way, and direct is the point.
Yes.
And then we got to learn to really just communicate, you know, get rid of all the glamour, the glitz, and let's just talk. Everything else will come along with it after the fact.
Yeah, you said something that I think a lot of us do, and that's we throw hints. Instead of getting down to the nitty gritty and just talking about whatever it is that's on our minds, we hint around at whatever it is that we want to talk about. We want to tiptoe around these things. And the thing is that, so many times we have a life outside of married life. So we go to work every day. We work 8, 9 hours a day. So we, through the run of the day, we have had all types of things going on in our daily life. Everything has happened. Somebody's gotten on our nerves. Something has happened that has caused us to really be agitated or aggravated. And if we don't know how to really talk, we mess up. For me, per se, when I worked within the prison system,
Mm.
it was very difficult for me because I've had a hard day. I've had to deal with these individuals, and they're not the best of individuals, especially being a female in a male institution. You can just imagine, and some of you know some of the things that females experience in male institutions. So I've dealt with all of this stuff. And now I come home and I'm frustrated, I'm aggravated, but I had to learn to check those things at the gate because my frustration and my aggravation was not with the individual that I live with. It wasn't with the individual that I was married to. And sometimes we don't know how to do that. Sometimes you have to learn how to compartmentalize and be able to separate some things. You can't bring work home all the time or the aggravation from work home all the time. But can we talk? Can we talk about my day? Can we talk about what happened through the run of the day while we were apart? Can we have a conversation?
We can, but the thing of it is, sometimes we talk without saying anything. Facial expressions, looks, the popping of the lips, or what's the favorite one, and what's all that about?
Right.
So it's a give and take situation, but at the same time, you got to learn to actually just have a conversation. Okay, you had a bad day. Guess what? Me too. 9 times out of 10, when you hit the door, we've been together so long, it's almost like a routine. So what's the first thing? What we eating?
Can we talk before I get the question what we eat? Because sometimes I want to talk and I'll say, such and such happened today, or today was just one of those days, and then the question is, well, what we eating? At that point, talking is out the window for me because at that point you can have an air sandwich. I don't care what you eat. You've been here all this time. You haven't cooked. You haven't fixed anything. And so this is the thing. You are able body just like me. You got two hands just like me. You got off of work before I did. You came in the house. Maybe you've been here all day. I should walk in the house and say, something smell good. What we eating? So,
What was that movie? Not the mama, not the wife either.
sometimes we really we want to just talk. Can we just sit down and can we talk? We don't take the time a lot of times to even sit down and have dinner together. People, we have gotten away from that. Even on Sundays, you used to have family dinners on Sundays. Some of us that don't have dysfunctional families used to have family dinner on Sundays where we would meet at grandma's house or mama's house or somebody's house, and we would sit and we would communicate.
But see, you have to have those type of traditions. See, that's the whole point right there. We have to build a foundation so we can do these types of things. Because here's where most of the problem come in, y'all. You have your idea of how the perfect afternoon is supposed to be.
Yeah.
She has her idea of how the perfect afternoon should be. But the first thing that we should often think about is, can I take the time, let me get me my time, which is you coming home, use that time just to chill extra 30, 40 minutes just to get yourself ready for home. Because you don't know what you're gonna run into. Now we've had to learn that. Now we good because despite what she said, I do cook, good at it. But the thing of it is, once you have allowed yourself to get into a routine, that's the routine. And speaking on from a man's point of view, men come and this works for me. I get off work, I come home, stretch out, kick my feet back because I know by 6:30, 7 o'clock, boy, it's something there to eat. And then you come on, you done had a bad day, and I'm looking like, hey baby, you dragging your feet. I'm hungry. I didn't eat all day. I know 6:30 the pot's supposed to be rattling or something. And now you mad, and this is not what we've been doing.
Right.
Okay. Now, in order for us to do that, we need to conversate. We need to talk. We need to get to that point to where you know what, this is what it is. So be true, but to thyself be true.
Right. And so, even in that, you said something that really made me think about how you start a thing. How you start a thing is how it's expected
Yes.
to be carried out. And so I made the mistake
Wait, hold
almost 30 I made the mistake almost 32 years ago of
Mistake.
making a meal and saying, I love to see you eat.
That
And
was
so
not a mistake. That was real. Because I love that man. I want to see him eat.
But
But
even in that, that doesn't mean that I want to be the one to prepare the meal every day, or I want to be the one to, as soon as I come into the house, I have to drop my stuff, go straight to the kitchen. Sometimes I just want to be able to sit down and talk. Let's sit down and talk. Let's have a conversation. But a lot of relationships were not started in that way at all. So a lot of relationships were started with no talking. So once you get into, because everything was established before we even got to the point of the house. So there was no talking. And so now you're expecting to have that conversation. And the other party is like, well, what is there to talk about? What do you want to talk about? Because they have already had in their mind, okay, so we don't really need to talk. We don't really need to communicate. We know what's happening. You come in, you cook, you do whatever. I'm gonna sit here, watch TV, kick back, wait for my plate, and all of this stuff. But sometimes it takes us to be able to say, I just need to talk, because we need that outlet.
You hear that? Okay, I'm gonna just say that to me right now.
What?
You just came home, and you just say that.
I need to talk.
Huh? Talk about what?
Right.
What we talking about?
I need to talk.
Well,
I
talk.
need to talk about my day.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
While you watching TV.
Huh?
Yeah. See, these are the type of things. And so we get offended.
That's
that.
the point I'm making right
We
there.
get offended because the attention is not on me. I've been away all this time. I've been away 9-10 hours. I'm trying to tell you something about my day. And you're saying, talk about what? Oh, go ahead and talk, while you're not breaking your gaze from the television, while you still on your cell phone, while you listening to your videos or whatever, or playing your games for those that play games. That is not helping, because it takes communication. So at that point, from a woman's perspective, you don't want to hear what I got to say. So let me just move on. I'm going to go in here, because all you want to hear is the pots rattling, or you want to hear me going through the normal routine of whatever your normal is. And so when that happens, we get to the point to where we're like, we shut down. So there's no communication. So 3 hours later, When it's some show that you don't want to watch, now you say, "Oh well, let's talk about what?" Now I'm talking about, well, what we talking about? Because
See what
I
I'm
ain't got
talking
nothing else to say.
about?
And so that makes for a bad home life. So can we really talk? Can we talk?
Yeah, but here's the thing. When you first get together, you need to set some ground rules. See, that's the
Okay.
thing. I was one of them guys that set the ground rules because I don't like surprises. It's hard to surprise me anyway. But the thing of it is, you have to set some ground rules and tell the whole truth. Get past the infatuation. Just tell the whole truth. I like this. I like that. I like this. I like that. But in the midst of that, I need everybody to hear this. We get older, we change. Now, you knew me, but you don't know me now.
Wow.
I used to like hamburgers. Now I like steak. And next week I might like something else. But if I don't talk to you or tell you that, or when I try to tell you that, then you be like, "Now you just said you like this. Now you liking that." No, don't get upset because I have the right to change. And
Yeah.
that's a vice versa situation. But learn to have a conversation so you can talk. Now, my wife and I, we do a lot of talking because I like to ride anyway. Let's ride. And I like to talk. I love to talk. Sometimes I think she talk too much. But you know what? If I don't talk and I don't communicate, then you don't know me.
Right.
How
And
you know if you don't know?
exactly. And that's a very valid point that we need to stress, because lack of communication is really what is destroying a lot of marriages, because of the simple fact that we got together when we were teenagers, or we got together when we were in our early 20s. We got together young, and now we're still together. But I've grown, you've grown. And so if we never take the time to realize that things change, then we have really kind of outgrown each other, because we don't know what one another likes. It's so funny because, well, it's really not funny. I'm not gonna say funny because it's not funny. We counsel with couples, and just a simple thing as to what's his or her favorite color, and some of the answers and responses that are given, and then some of the looks that the other partner gives to the one that's giving the response, like, what? Who favorite color
Color
is
is
that?
that?
That's not my favorite color. Well, who is she? And that starts a whole nother
Gambit of
conversation.
everything.
And so when you start looking at it, and then they're like, well, when we first got together, you like that color. And then the person says, well, I'm grown up since then. I don't like that color anymore. My favorite color is XYZ. Well, I didn't know that. Well, how come you didn't know that? Well, maybe because you never told it. Maybe you never expressed it. Maybe you never had the conversation. Just simple things. Even what you like to eat, what you like to drink. I'm on and off of Pepsi. I'll be on Pepsi this month, and then next month, Pepsi is the devil. I'm just like, and so it's hard for him to even keep up sometimes, because he knows that I like Pepsi. I've always liked Pepsi. So he may buy a Pepsi, and I'll be like, I'm not drinking Pepsi. I need a lemonade. Well, how did he know that? How did he know that you didn't want a Pepsi now? You want a Pepsi any other time? That's probably my response I'll get to. Well, you want a Pepsi any other time, so why you don't want a Pepsi now? Well, I'm just not on that. I'm trying to stay away from Pepsi. But if I never told him that I was trying to stay away from Pepsi, I'll come home and it'll be like 2 liters in there, because I never told him that. And it's just the simple things like that. You know, okay, so he don't like gravy anymore. These are just, I know. These are just simple things. I'm just trying to give some analogies. I know. I know. So, but when you don't communicate, you don't know. And that is where offense comes in, because you're in this place and now you've went to all this trouble. You spent your money. You've done all this thing. You went out your way, thought you was being sweet and being nice. And then you come home and I got a whole unit because I don't drink Pepsi anymore. And so now you're offended.
You said being sweet and nice. Did you hear that? Being sweet and nice. Now, here's the thing. Before you decide to lose your mind about the Pepsi because you want the lemonade, think about he was being sweet and nice. Sometimes we got to take just a moment to count to five and say, well, baby, see, and I get this a lot too, y'all. You don't tell me what to say. I know what to say, how I want to say it. Okay.
And that's true.
But if I'm explaining to you how to talk to me, how I like, where I can receive what you're saying, because to me, that sounds pretty good. Baby, I don't really want Pepsi right now. Thank you so much. Next time, get me a lemonade. But before all that, how about call me? But if I'm trying to surprise you, how that gonna work?
Right.
I've had this. Men think everybody think I'm bronzy and I don't have feelings. I don't feel nothing. How about I was being nice and sweet, and I bought her some things and everything, and then all of a sudden she say, "I ain't asked you for that," and I'm looking like what? And that money part, that rung in my head. I got, what I just spent for. Okay, so first time I got mad, but the next time I said, "Okay, Lord, help me with this." And what did I do? I waited good till this occasion came around again. And I was home chilling in the air, my feet kicked up. And when she walked in the door, she had that look on her face like, I know I got something. No, you don't. I was sitting and I waited for about an hour or two. And then I said, would you like to go eat or whatever you want to do? Because I don't want to get the wrong thing, because I don't want my feelings hurt and nothing like that. And she was like, I don't care. It's okay. And I was cool with that because I'm laughing on the inside, right? Because here's the thing, guys. Don't take offense to what women say sometimes. Don't allow people to change who you are. 33 years and a few days we've been together. And out of 33 years, I have never missed a birthday, anniversary. I got a perfect track record. But she went to eat and we came home, we sat down, we was good, and she was still a little salty. She tried to act like she wasn't. I was still laughing on the inside because see, you said you didn't want it. You didn't ask for it, but when I asked you, said, I don't know. So we sat in the front room for about another couple of hours, and finally she ready to go to bed. She goes in there and I peek down the hall and her grin, yeah, because there was something laying on the bed for her. So don't allow people to change who you are because what happens is she really wanted something, but get what you want her to have, but make sure you ask her what is it that she desires, and it makes it work perfectly.
That's why we have to communicate. Because
Mhm.
when we don't communicate, you don't know what I like. You don't know what I want. I changed my mind. Okay. Well, this is what I want. I don't want you to buy this time. I want this. We have a way of kind of stepping back a lot of times because we don't want to just share and just say, well, this is what I want. So when I'm asked what I want, a lot of times I will say, well, I don't know. Well, let me say, I used to say, I don't know. But now I've got to the point to realize that, my wants and my desires, they matter. They matter to me. And so if they matter to me, then they should matter to him. So whenever he says, well, what do you want? Then I da 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 da. This is what I want. And so there's no miscommunication because I told you what I wanted. And sometimes we have to think about, and this is where a lot of women make mistakes because you look at things and you want these big ticket items and all of this stuff. And maybe right now is not the time for that. Maybe he has to save up for the big ticket item, or it's going to take a little time for you to get that big ticket item. So you give them a list. You start in the expensive category and you go all the way down to the not so expensive category. Not the cheap, but not so expensive. And so now he has options. Because if you say you want this big ticket item and he can't get that, he's going to do the best that he can to get you what he thinks is at least close to what you wanted. And sometimes we have the ability of crushing people of crushing people because we don't take into consideration their heart. We don't take into consideration the things that they did or what they spent to get us what they were able to get us. We just look at the fact, well, I told you that I wanted X, Y, and Z. And so now our face is looking like screw face and everything. And it's like it's crushing to them. And you know what? Their thought at that moment, but next time I won't get you nothing. You know, because I did all of this and you didn't appreciate it. So that's why it's so important for us to communicate. But you know, I've realized that with the people that we talk to and the couples that we have sat down and counseled with, a lot of people live with people that they can't not only talk to, but they don't like each other. They don't like each other and they don't trust each other.
That's a
But they
sad.
live together.
Then that's a sad situation. That's sad right there. And my past life, I was in a situation like that. It's not good, because you're always angry, and angry people be angry at everybody else for no reason. They had nothing to do with what you did or what you have yourself in at that moment. But the thing of it is, I can't even talk about that because what was yesterday, I try to leave it there. But let's go back to the point of where we was riding with that $5 gas. Now,
Yeah.
actually, it was wonderful because we hadn't did that in a while. I like to tell people, what do you do? I like to ride and get lost. I can find my way back, but let's get lost because we going where you going? Nowhere, but somewhere. I have no direction. I'm just going. Turn the radio off. Don't listen to the music. Don't listen to the beat.
Right.
Listen to him. Listen to her. Talk about your day for real, and then talk about how nice it was just for us to be in this solitude. And let's talk about something that really has some meaning to it. You know, we were talking about the ride. We were talking about, you remember when we used to do this? Sometimes you have to go down memory lane to get back on the right highway because, it's all about the one that you're with. Because if you've been together any amount of time, there's no such thing as you don't care. Some people get along like that, arguing, fussing, and all that. But you know what? Let somebody else say something out the way to them. Now you want to lose your whole mind. But at the same time, learn to hear each other.
Right.
And if you can't hear each other, because I know one time back years ago when she used to go to church, I didn't want to go to church because I was used to doing something else. And it was good until she asked me to go to church. When she said, "Are you going to church?" Oh, my whole insides turned upside down. So one day, because the devil is cunning, so one day, instead of talking to her about church, I text her. It took forever to get these big fingers in there, but I text her. I said, "Whatever you do, don't take this the wrong way, but don't ask me to go to church. Just let me do me, please." And it took all she could do not to crinkle up her face and all that. I said, "Because, I'll tell you tomorrow." But the next day, I was up, I was ready. I beat her ready to go to church because it's simple things that actually destroy you because the devil can only come at you with the closest one to you because that's the one can get to you. And she said, "Well, why did you text me that?" I said, "Because when you say it out your mouth, it's like it just do something to me because it's like I'm being made to do something I don't want to do. It's not that I don't want to do it, but when you say it, it's always at the wrong time. Okay, just before I go to bed, hey, you going to church tomorrow, right?" I didn't even get to say no, right? You ain't got nothing else to do.
Right.
But you have to think about that. We're both two grown individuals. We have to realize that, you know what? Sometimes we have to grow apart to come back together because my thoughts ain't your thoughts, you know? But give me the opportunity to have my own mindset, my own thoughts.
Right. And that's something we're gonna take a quick break here in just a second, but just before we take a break, it's important for us to understand that it's the way that we say things
There you go.
and how we talk to each other. So we're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back and we're gonna deal with that for a little while. See y'all in a minute. All right, we're back. We're back. So, when we took our break, we were talking about learning how to talk to each other. One thing that I have realized, I have witnessed, and it makes my skin crawl and it makes me cringe when I see individuals, and I'm speaking from a woman's perspective tonight, when I see women talk to their mates as though they're their children. Many times, we may have children. We may have adult children. We may have young children, and we have mates as well. And there are times when I have witnessed women talk to their mate as though they are their children. And that just really bothers me. It bothers me, for one, because it's disrespectful. And for two, you would not want anyone to talk to you in the manner that you have spoken with them. It's really sad that we take it to that level, but it's because, once again, we don't know how to separate or differentiate the situations and the circumstances. So, you're snapping and you're fussing at this individual as though they are your child, and many times they will step back and they will give you a look, but a lot of times they'll hold their peace.
That's because a lot of times um, men have done things that they shouldn't have, and women hold grudges sometimes.
Mm.
And so they
Yeah.
talk to a man in any kind of way. Okay, I was wrong. I admit it, but don't try to bash me with that because and look, I did that. I'm sorry. You can't get nothing else out of that.
Right.
But at the same time, don't try to take my manhood by trying to keep talking to me like I'm a child. When you get off work, don't talk to me like I'm your child or your employee.
Mm.
Don't talk to me because of the way your boss talked to you, because you allowed that. But then, even as a man, before you give a rebuttal to what you heard, ask the question: am I grown? Are you grown? Do you realize who you're talking to? Those are our children over there. I'm your husband. I'm not your child. I'm your wife. I'm not your child. All these things come into play. Don't keep pushing the envelope because sometimes the envelope push back. Sometimes the glue stick and that be them lips swole up. And I'm just not trying to be funny, but that's real because sometimes people cannot express themselves other than to strike, you know. And if they give you that look and sometimes they just keep pushing the envelope, then you hear something that you don't want to hear. But then even further than that, if you got kids in the midst of that, they look how mama talk to daddy, look how daddy talk to mama. See, it's about respect on both ends.
Right.
If we don't teach our children and each other how to love and respect one another's boundaries and each other,
Right.
because you don't actually at that point you're not even respecting yourself. Because I don't see my wife don't see her husband, so we don't see each other. So now we walk around the house mad for a week or two, and sometimes it get good because anything you can go 2 or 3 weeks, so after a while you get comfortable. Then that opens the door for the enemy to come in. And here the enemy can't do you no harm. He just presents stuff to you that you thought was dead, buried, and gone.
Yes. And that's so true. How we decide how to judge people and whether or not they deserve respect because of whatever they have done or said or whatever. And we have to realize that, as you said, when a person says they are sorry, they apologize for it, that's it. You can't get blood. And I'm quick to say that, because if I say, all right, well, I understand that I offended you or whatever I did hurt your feelings or whatever, and I'm sorry. Don't keep coming at me, because my next response is going to be, well, you can't get blood. What else do you want? And then I'm mad at that point because I've apologized, and now I'm ready to move on from that because I apologize to you. So you're either going to accept the apology or you're going to go somewhere and leave me alone, because that's just life. People when we get to that point, and just as you said, when you push me, you keep pushing, and I've already said, I apologize. I apologize for whatever I said or did. And so you just want to keep rehashing and keep coming back and keep bringing up something. Okay, so yeah, well, let me just go ahead and give you the rest of what I was going to say when I stopped myself. And so I'm going to say that, and I'm not going to say I'm sorry
Okay,
after that point.
that was good right there. When you say I stopped myself.
Uh-huh.
See, because that individual that you with, they know it's something else behind
Right.
there, and they keep pushing for that. And they have to realize that, you know what, they didn't say it, they held it.
Right. So
Don't
leave it
try to
alone.
push and keep the fire going when it's trying to smother itself. See, a lot of people don't know how to do that. Oh, I know you wanted to say it. I know. Say it. Say it. Say it. Okay. Then you get what you didn't want to hear,
Right.
and now it
I
has to
can't
go.
even talk to you. Why we can't talk? Why you had to say all of that? We could have just talked about it. See, that's the response that you'll get
Yeah,
after
that'll
you
be it right there.
after you have been the fire
Fire
starter.
starter.
Now you want to be the victim.
You're right. There you go.
You either gonna play one or the other. You either gonna start the fire and just go on and ride it out, or you gonna be the victim. You can't be both. You can't be fire starter and victim. But a lot of times, and I'm speaking for the ladies, and y'all can say whatever you want to say, because I know what I'm talking about and I'm saying what I'm saying. A lot of times you want to be the fire starter, and then when it comes back, you want to be the victim. See, because the amber now has flown over here and it then ignited something else that was dry, that was trying to just go ahead and be dead. But now the amber done got over here. So now here you are. You want to cry victim.
Mm-hmm.
No. You either going to be the fire starter and you just going to stand up and say, well, I started this fire, so I'm just going to have to ride it out until the fireman come. But outside of that, you can't play both sides. And we do that. We'll start something, and then when it really get hot, when it's the real
When it
what you
ignited.
call it, what,
The
the
blaze.
forest fire. When the forest fire starts, because you had just a little bit of blaze going on, you had a little spark, but now when that forest fire gets going and it's starting to run and burn down a whole bunch of stuff, now you want to cry victory. Oh my God. Oh, it's a fire. No, 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 no. No, you started it. And so that's where we get into the place of not communicating. We'll start the fire, and then when it just turns into a blaze that we can't put out at this point, because now all the cards are on the table. Because now the conversation has not turned, it's turned
Oh.
ugly. So we're gonna talk about the old, the new, and everything in between. So we talking about 35 years ago, and we wasn't even together 35 years ago. But that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to bring all of this stuff to the table, because you know what? You opened the door.
But you know
You
what you just
started the
said?
fire.
You heard what she said? Now we having a conversation. No, y'all arguing. Y'all ain't having no conversation. Y'all arguing. And the thing about it is, women mouths are like shotguns.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about a submachine gun.
Yes,
Rah,
sir.
rah, 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 and a
Yes,
man
sir.
can't keep up.
Always locked and loaded. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And men can't keep up because you know what? Men really don't care about all that. That was over then. And why you bringing that up? See, and that's where it get bad.
Right.
You have to learn to let go and let God in that situation. You know, but even before all that, when was the last time you seen people hold hands? We pick at us a lot about that. We hold hands, we dress alike, and I'm always smiling at her. She always smiling at me because I love her. But if this is who you married and you've been with them any length of time, you got to learn to do just that. At some point in your life, your significant other should be the only thing that's on your mind.
Yes.
First and foremost, let me talk to my wife about it. We're riding. I tell her this analogy all the time. They say, well, how do you do that? I said, it's real simple. If that's your wife and you married her, then you're supposed to trust her. So if I'm driving and something come up on the right side and she tell me, no, not yet, I don't have to go and look to the right. If she's seen it, that means I already saw it because she see it for me. See, and vice versa. But you got to get to that point. Stop trying to compete and battle when we're supposed to be as one,
Yeah.
not divided. See, as long as you can learn how to be one, and you know what? It's not about always winning. It's not a win. It's not a give or take. It's just us. Let's talk about it. And then don't have paper bag feelings because you know what? People can say what they want to say out their mouth.
Yes.
And sometimes, you got to learn to talk to each other without hurting the other one's feelings. Like, well, you said it like that. Well, I didn't mean it like that. Okay, think before you speak. Children tell you that all the time. You forgot the number one rule. Think before you speak. Start practicing being nice to each other. But if you can't do that and do it from your heart, please don't do it because you know what? Each of you can feel that.
Right. You know, I want to go back to something that you said because I think we need to really touch this and stress this point. You said that women's mouths are like submachine guns.
Yes, Lord.
And I agree with that. We stay cock locked and loaded and we can unload rapidly, rapid fire. And so, what I want men to understand is that we may not be able to fight you physically or to, and I'm not talking about domestic violence. Please don't misunderstand
Yeah.
that. I'm no domestic violence because we are definitely not about that. But when arguments come into play, and so we may not be a physical match for you in arguments, but our mouths are what we use to fight. Our mouths are what we use to try to win the fight because we know that's all that we have. We have our mouth. So we're going to try our best to win with our mouth. And we should not ever let it get that heated to where we begin to tear one another down because
Yeah.
when we get it to that place, then that's a very hurtful place because a lot of times things are said in the heat of the moment that you can't press the rewind button and think that it's going to rewind and come back in there. It's not because once you have released it, it's out there. There is no rewind.
So you
And so
can't
you
unhear
right,
what
you
you already
can't
heard.
unhear. He can't unhear what he has heard and you cannot rewind what you have said, and that causes damage. It damages relationships, it tears down self-esteem, and it hurts you, and it causes wedges to begin to come in the middle of relationships because you know why? Every time something happens, and it can be the smallest little thing that happened, you're going to go back to those words. You're going to go back to those words, and those words are going to replay in your mind, and then it's going to begin to cause distance to come in between you and the person that you claim to love, because the first thing that you're going to say, well, if they love me they wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, you're right. If they love me, he wouldn't have said it. But it wasn't about whether they love you. It's because I wanted to do something that was going to inflict pain
Right.
without physical pain.
You hurt me, and
You would
that's the
hurt me,
only
so
way I could hurt you
I can
back.
hurt you back. But see, in the midst of all that, sometimes you sit there and you hold that on the inside and you just can't wait. God, boy, I ain't gonna say that, but I'm waiting. Because when they say this here, boy, when it come back, I don't care if it's 2 weeks from now. Oh, what
Right.
about when you said that right there? You
Right.
remember you said that? So now you're holding on to yesterday and you can't go forth.
That's why we have to be able to talk.
You should be able to talk. You
We
need
have
to talk.
to. If
We
we're
have
gonna
to.
if we're going to have successful marriages, we have to be able
There
to
you
talk.
go. We have to talk.
We have to, because we can't make it like that. The things that we used to do when we were in the world, just trying to find the right person or dating people, you can't do that anymore. Once you have become one,
That's
you
it.
have to be able to sit down and talk. And I understand, believe me, I understand a lot of marriages today are not based on any conversation that came into play. A lot of them were sexual, and it's just the truth. They were
Mhm.
sexual. It was the fact that, okay, I like what you putting down, you like what I'm putting down, and okay, so this is what it is. And now I don't want nobody else to be putting down what I'm putting down. So let's put a ring on it, let's get married, let's do whatever. And you get into these relationships, and you know what happens? We can tuck it up, pull it up, pin it up, and when the lights go off and the clothes come out, baby, you see stuff that done been pinned up, tucked up. It
Oh
begin
my
to
God.
fall apart, and you be like, "What the devil? What is all of that? Where was all of that?" And so now the Coca-Cola bottle is really not the Coca-Cola bottle. You got 3 or 4 2 liters put together. You don't even have it. Don't even have a shade. And so now you're looking at, you tricked me. But no, you didn't talk to me. You didn't talk to me to find out enough about me to understand that I'm working on me. I'm not all together. So this is my image that I want to portray, because I know this is what men are looking for or women are looking for. And so now I want to be that one, because in the past maybe they weren't that one. Maybe they let it all hang out and they was walking around showing the whole everything that they had, and nobody was attracted to them. So now, okay, well, I can pin it up, I can pull it up, and I can tuck it up. Oh, and I got all kind of combo. But then in the midst of having the combo and all of this stuff is going on, see, the combo is just wooing you to the bedroom. And so when you get that, then here we are. It's no talking going on because we already know what we here for. So there's no talking. But then there's something that happens where, okay, well, we kind of digging each other or whatever. So let's just go ahead and lock this down and we're going to be together and this, that, and the other thing. But then when you begin to really realize and see that there was somebody up under all of this other stuff, there's a person. And this person actually has feelings, they have wants, they have desires, they have expectations, and a lot of them be false, but you still got them.
But in the midst of all that, it that was based on a lie.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of relationships are based on lies, because there was no communication. It was a falsehood. I saw you and I'm like, yeah, I'm digging that. So yeah, I'm gonna make that mine. So I'm finna lock this down because this person, they got a good job and they can take care of me. They can do this, they can do that. And here we are. Now we cohabitating, and I see the ugly part of you, because what I saw when I got with you was all made up and everything. And when I wake up after the first morning and the makeup is not on, who in the devil are you and how you got in here? Where you came from?
I have no idea. I know
Where,
you ain't can't stay.
right, where you came from? Because you looking like this is not the person. What happened? I know we might have been a little on it or something last night, but what happened?
Them-
So, we need to talk. We need to be able to talk.
You gotta talk because feelings are involved. And most relationships, you start off because you like what you see. Okay, that's cool. But even in that, have those boundaries. Okay, you like what you see. I know you like what you see, and I like what I see. So we're good at that point. But let's have a conversation. I was taught years ago, you get up here, find out what's happening up in that brain area. Because you can look so good and be so fine, and my sister said it best. She said it's a can with a little BB rock running around, ting, 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 hitting every corner, and that's it. Let's see if this mind working. Because with this mind working, then we can do some things. Because you know what? I don't need arm candy. I need a spouse. I need a mate. I need somebody that wants to talk to me, be with me, share my life with me, so I can share my life with them. you know. But we got to be real with one another because if you don't talk from the get go, you got nothing. And if you're together now and it's going all right, then stop, back up, Tell the whole truth and be willing to listen and receive what you're about to hear.
Exactly.
That way you can heal, let the healing begin, and we can move forward. Because if it's been all this time, you ain't going nowhere. It's just your feelings hurt right now. And 9 times out of 10, the reason your feelings hurt, because you know what? 85% of it is the truth.
Right.
You just didn't want to hear it from that
Right.
person.
Right. So we can't have paper bag feelings in these things. We have to be 21. Can't be 12. We all grown, we mature. And if you're not mature, let me help you. Marriage is for mature people.
Yes.
So put your big girl panties on and pop them and just get it together. Get it together. You cannot continue in a relationship to where you cannot communicate, because communication is key. And when you are able to communicate, you have to understand that paper bag feelings, you got to throw them away, because there's going to be things that's going to hurt your feelings. There's going to be things that you're going to say that's going to hurt his feelings. And you got to be able to man up and just take it.
And that's simple. The same with men. Put your boxers on or your big briefs or whatever you're wearing, and understand that you know what? They have feelings too. And we can make it. And at that point, we can do what?
Let the healing begin. Hey, y'all, it's been great. We will see you guys back here on the third Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope you will come back and follow us on this journey as we let the healing begin. Have a great night, y'all, and thank you for joining us.